Hello, darlings. Okay, the commercial's over. The face has been washed. And, you know, I went in and washed my face while we were doing we're uploading the first parts. And I thought Gail was going to shoot me. Where am I looking now? I'm looking over there. Okay. I thought Gail was going to shoot me. However, she hasn't so far. And let's see if you can see this. Now look, I haven't been working outside today, and yes, I took a shower. However, this is all the stuff that came off my face. This towel was white before I put my stupid face on it. And this is all that it took off from that soap that I put on my face. One squirt. That's it. Just one. You don't remember? Go back and watch it. It's funny as hell. I mean, it's hecka funny. You know, I know that all the teens that are watching, you're going, really? She's really concerned with what they say? I know. I know because I work with you guys. I know you. All right. So let's move on. We were working on talking about body conditioning and LCT and geography and all that good stuff. And leaving your horses. Oh, that's where we left off on the last one that we're cutting out. And that was if it's cold, like we've got a winter storm warning, everybody, you guys, you know what? This is for me to you guys back east and Midwest and up north. For God's sake, keep warm. Make sure you don't forget. I know these are things you're going to think about, but it's the beginning of winter, and sometimes we forget. Don't forget to wrap your pipes and your hoses. If you've got a hose out there, leave it trickling. Get your butt out to Tractor Supply or whoever your feed store is. Get your water warmers now. Make sure you're not putting them in a bucket that it shouldn't be in. God, take care of yourselves and take care of those animals. Which brings me back to what I was talking about. I was mentioning that some people, up north and back east and all that, they like to say, well, horses, they don't need all this stuff and they don't need that and they don't need a blanket and they're up here and they did just fine in the snowstorm. They walked around just fine afterwards. Okay, so my thing is this, and I said this earlier, go put yourself in a zero bag, get your butt out there in the storm. Get your butt out there in the storm with those horses, sit there with them in your zero bag, because you got a zero bag, right? So what's the big deal?
What's a zero bag?
It will keep you warm down to zero. It's almost looks like a mummy bag. It's a sleeping bag.
Okay.
And for those of you that didn't know what a zero bag is, that's what it is. So you take your good warm zero bag and you go out there. Actually, I dare you to take a 30-degree bag, one that only goes down to 30 degrees. You really want to test yourself? Go out there with a 30-degree bag. And you get your 2 meals at the same time they do. You're human, so what? Get same day. And then tell me if they suffered or not. I'm not talking dying suffering, even though if you've got a geriatric horse, if you've got a horse that's over 20, even though they're living to 35 and 40, if you've got a horse over 20, and maybe, it's wintertime, so you guys have, shut the horses down for the winter? That's not event season. It's not competition season. So they're on a break, which means they're not doing a lot. Weather's not permitting you to do a lot. Put a blanket on your horse. I don't care if it's thin. Do something. Go out there and do this. This is what I do. Now you can go take your horse's temperature. But that's kind of funny. Take your horse's temperature, but that's funny. That's funny. If you know horses, that's funny.
Maybe but.
Okay, but that's funny. However, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Okay. Hi. Okay. If what I like to do, being we're in a warm weather climate, even though we get down to freezing here, not a lot, but we do. Our horses here are acclimated to this type of weather. So when it gets down to that and it starts getting cold, and I start wondering, is it too cold? Because we get high winds here, 20 mile an hour. Are you falling asleep on me?
No.
You better not.
Yet.
Not yet? Oh my God, you should say. I feel like I'm leaving her out. I go out and I hug my horse. I don't do it. I'm not doing it for love, even though I love doing it. But I do it to feel how warm they are. If you go up to your horse, for me, if I go up and I hug my horse and I'm like, oh my God, you feel so good, they're warm enough. They're obviously warm enough. Their internal temperatures are doing fine. To me, am I wrong? Do you think I'm wrong?
No, their body temperature runs a little higher than ours
Okay.
normally. So they're going to feel warm.
And that's good because we don't want them freezing. However, what? You've got thoughts in your head. I see them. Oh, I knew. She goes, see, me and Gail don't always agree on exactly the same ways of doing things, which is really, really good because we learn from each other and that helps to educate you guys better and give you more of a widespread opinions. It's not just one opinion, it's multiple opinions. So what do you think? What do you do if you're concerned at all? See, she's sucking in her lips, so I know she doesn't blanket, period, I don't think.
No, I've had bad experiences with blanketing and silly things, and right now I have minis that look like little polar bears.
Right? I know, they're so cute. They're just like fuzzy.
But if you want a more accurate, if you want to go feel your horse.
If you want to go feel your horse.
Just to feel, their
Fur.
how their body temperature is. Feel between their hind legs because there is
Of
no
course.
fur there.
Yay! She followed my fur points. That's a good point. I never thought about that. Because I figure if there's fur, yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Feel where there's no fur.
Yeah.
That stuff's gonna get cold. This show is PG rated 10. Well, it's 2020 almost. What am I supposed to say? This PG-13. PG-13, is that what? This is a PG-13 rated show. Okay. I'm betting just about every kid out there has heard those words, but I'm sorry. They come out of I'm sorry. Norma, I love you. I'm sorry. I was a trucker. I have a truck. I'm going to spill my drink and then she's going to get really mad at me because it's red. I was a truck driver. I have a truck driver's, but why do I have to come? I don't have to. It just happens. I can't help it. I'm trying. I'm doing really good. I'm sorry. Okay, moving on.
Moving on down the road.
So feel between the legs, under. Okay, let's talk layman's terms for a second because not everybody on here knows exactly where the stifle is. If you're a horse person, where the stifles are is a good place because it's very thin fur there. But you're talking about actually reaching around behind the butt and going down below the buttocks.
Yeah, you'd feel
and reaching
on
around
there
the leg.
where her nipples are, or
Okay.
the male's scrotal area, because there basically is no hair down there.
Right.
So that's
Find the area
skin
that
tone.
has no fur, no hair, no coat. No coat. Okay? And what are we feeling for when we do that? I mean, I know
You
she's
still
not a
want-
vet, but she knows this
You
stuff.
still want them to feel warm. If they don't feel warm to you, then you have an issue because it should be their body temperature there.
Right. So what would you do? What would you personally do? I know what I would do, but what would you do?
You're talking if they're that cool, you would either need to bring them inside or definitely to blanket.
Okay. So if you can't bring them inside, blanket them. And that brings us back to what kind of blankets. And in that case, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you to go to Smart Pack so I don't keep you on here for 2 hours. Go back to Smart Pack. Go back to thehorse.com, which we've pulled up too, and check out the different type of blankets. And you know what? I just asked her a question. I want you to answer the same questions. I should have said this beforehand. When I ask Gail a question, I would love to hear your answers to those questions also, okay? All right, so put them down there. Put them down what you think, because even if we don't answer them immediately, which is what we're aiming to do with the watch party, we're going to try. We're going to try and answer your questions. Okay. So, LCT. LCT. What in the world is LCT? LCT and geography. If you can tell me in the next 60 seconds, I'm going to put my glasses, I'm going to put my handy dandy glasses on that Gail keeps around for me because she knows I lose all my glasses. So, starting right now, What is LCT? The first person, I'm going to knock this over. I just know it. I'm going to have, here, excuse me. We're going to start that 60 seconds in a minute. In a minute. We're going to start it in a second. Hold on. Yeah, I'm not downing that. It's cognac. It's a liqueur cognac. I'm not doing it. All right. You see this fantastic bottle? You can get refills for this bottle also. This is our goat's milk foaming soap that has 36% goat's milk in it. It goes for $7 a bottle. And if you can tell me in the next 60 seconds, starting right flipping now, tell me what LCT means, you're going to get, the first person that answers is going to get a free bottle of goat's milk soap. I'm going to give you either an unscented, a spearmint, lavender, or lavender spearmint. Okay? You got 60 seconds. No, you don't. You've got 45 seconds. LCT. What does it mean when you're talking about horses and cold weather? LCT. Okay. So while we're waiting another 30 seconds here, body condition. Did we talk about body condition already?
We did.
We did. We did. Okay. Well, in that case, you have less than 30 seconds left if you haven't answered yet. What if I've got a donkey? You know what? We haven't had time to really research this. I'm going to say no, don't do it. But then again, what if that donkey has been a domestic the whole time? What if he was bred in captivity? You know, wild, we've got so many wild donkeys out here. Time's up. If you haven't answered, we'll give you another chance a little later. And if you have, congratulations. If you guys know anything about donkeys, I'm not talking about mules, that's a different coat altogether. I'm talking about donkeys. Whether they're minis or regulars, it should be the same, right?
Possibly.
Maybe. Okay. If you guys know, and I know there's a few of you out there that, I know there's one of you for sure that has Donkey Rescue, let me know, let us know, put it in the comments, even if this is, you're watching this recorded and you didn't have a chance to jump on to the watch party. I think you can still do that. I think you can still add comments that they stay up afterwards. I could be wrong, but put them on. Let's find out. Okay, we'll find out. And then we'll find out, do you blanket your asses? I'm just saying. Do you? Do you really? Do you put a rug on your ass? What's rug?
It's more of an English terminology for a lined blanket.
For a lined blanket?
Pretty much turnout blanket.
A turnout blanket. Okay, it'd be equivalent to a turnout blanket here.
Yes.
Okay, not a turnout sheet, a turnout blanket. Don't forget in the beginning, we talked about the 4 different kinds of blanket, the 4 main different types of blankets. And there were turn-in sheets, turnout sheets, there were turn-in blankets, and turnout blankets. No, there really weren't turn-ins, but you know, what the hell. What are they called? They're called
stable.
Stable. But we don't have a lot of stables here, so they're just focus on your turnouts, okay? Okay. And should you really stable? Oh, that's a whole different, I'm not even going there right now. Moving on.
One thing we didn't talk about with age-related blanketing is foals and very young horses who have no body fat.
Oh, what do you do in that case? You used to breed, so
Yes.
what do you do?
They need way more temperature control. So you do want to keep your younger babies inside if at all possible. If not, blankets. They are very susceptible to frost and freezing of their ears. And there are babies out in the world who have lost their tips of their ears. because they're
Really?
frozen off.
Okay, that's just not even funny. That's, you know, to me, that almost, I know people don't intend to do that, but you know what? That's almost abusive in my opinion. That's neglect. Why would I say that? Okay, look, if you don't know, you don't know. I get it, I understand. But you should know or you shouldn't be breeding. And that's a whole other subject I'm not going to get into right now either. But, you know, I mean, when I got Piglet, when he was left with it, I started looking up pigs and potbelly pigs and looking into them. And if I have a question, by golly, I look into it. And I know that he's okay with his coat as long as his coat does the way it is right now. I know he's good for winter. But I also know that if I add grass, you know, he bundles into it and grass will insulate him better than dirt. So my point is, check it out. Don't just ask a bunch of people. God, that drives me crazy. I'm going to ask my neighbor. My neighbor has horses. I'm going to ask my neighbor. And I'm going to believe everything my neighbor says. No offense. Maybe your neighbor knows everything. But I sincerely doubt it because nobody knows everything. So ask here's my rule again, ask, research at least 3 viable sources that are separate, like thehorse.com, your neighbor, your vet might know. And if you're in, if you're showing or something, ask a groomer. They might know, I would think, maybe.
They
I don't
should.
know. I don't know, but find out. Find out, because if you let it happen because you didn't think about it, to me that's neglecting. I just don't like it. So, don't piss me off. Okay? Okay, it's my channel. I can say it. No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that babies could, well, yeah, frostbite on the tips of their little ears. So that's a really good point. If you guys have got youngins, anything under 2 years? A year?
I would say 6 months and under, because they don't really get any body fat.
No body fat, 6 months under. And that's not a set in stone. We're not doctors. These are our opinions. These are from her experience. These are from my experience. People we've spoken with, things we've researched online, okay? Do your research. Don't make this the only place you stop. All right, we get a little dark here, and it is 16 minutes, so we're good. We've got about 15 minutes, and we're going to sign off here. Rain, wind, snow, what's the differences? Actually, let's go back to risk factor, because that was one of the things that you said. You're, as far as blanketing, it would really have to be some serious reason to blanket because of the scare factor, the fear factor for the risk involved.
There is. The only time I really was overly concerned about my horses out in the elements was when it rained. Then it froze, because their coats are totally saturated with water.
Yeah.
And then it freezes. That is a dangerous situation. Just rain above freezing, yeah, they're going to be shivering. It's not really, to me, wasn't worth the risk of putting blankets on horses out in pastures with each other, because you got the whole problems you would if you left a halter on.
Oh.
I mean, they can snag, they can get a foot in, all kinds of things can happen. So it's an iffy proposition. When it snowed,
That's a good point.
And the snow was coated all over them, I didn't worry about them at all, because they were just fine, because that coat was insulating that snow from melting.
Right.
So they were nice and warm. It wasn't a worry.
Yeah, last year when I did blanket, and what a pain in the butt. Lord have mercy if you've got more than 1 or 2 horses. OMG! Because like out here, when you've got cold desert nights and you've got 20-mile-an-hour winds and you've got heavy rain and you have no shelter for them to get, and don't start yelling at me. I don't want to hear it, because I've still got a 911 out for shelter, and I think we've got an update for you on that. But still, there are some people that can't put up their own shelter. And there's some people that believe that, wild horses are out there without it. Why the heck do I need it? But point being, these domestic horses, I was watching. I'm used to having my horses out my window. And I tell you, this over here is really throwing me for a loop, because the garage is in my way. So I can't see. It's like, where are you? I can't see. It bothers me. So I find myself going out and checking on them. But Mona, the rest of them were fine. Mona, she wasn't shivering. She was shaking. I mean, her legs were they were shaking. And so what I did, because I don't have anybody next to me and I wasn't going to call a vet at whatever time of night it was, I got online and I checked out 3 or 4 different sources. And what I found out, and I think I found out from thehorse.com, was that shivering is a way for them to help stay warm. When they're not moving, it actually helps their blood to move faster, which helps to warm the body. Okay. I guess you could say it ups the metabolism.
Yes, the muscles are moving.
Exactly.
Which heats
Exactly.
the body.
Yeah. Yep. Muscles moving, blood pumping. When you're moving, you're staying warm. When you're not, you're not. However, when you've got wind and that cold rain and it's just hitting hard, I went ahead and I thought, I read about it, different places, and I thought, I'm not sure about this, but I'm going to try something. After something I read, I'm going to try something. And if it doesn't work, I'll take it off, because I don't want to go out there and put a blanket or a couple of sheets on, make do, and and then find out that I actually hurt my horse's core temperature more than I helped it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that just because I'm a human, I'm cold, I need a jacket, so they must too. They're not humans, they're horses. So I went ahead and I put that, that thin quilted blanket, and we've got it for sale. That thin quilted, what is it? It's a cooling sheet, isn't it?
It's a liner or a cooler.
A liner or, okay, well, I used it as a liner. And then I put that green canvas one over her. It wasn't quilted. Then I put the green canvas one over her, and she got wet. I mean, obviously it was raining. They got wet. However, about a half hour after, I went out there and I put my hand between her body and up by her shoulder blade, the body and the bottom sheet. And I'll be dipped if she wasn't warm and almost completely dry. I was blown away. Blown away. Do not say Mickey said it, so it must be perfect. Okay. This is what I experienced with Mona, my horse, my Tennessee Walker. Our horse is here. Okay. So, but I did it because her legs were knocking. All right. LCT. Can you go back up for me? Because I know you guys are dying to know what LCT is. What is it? What is it? What is it? LCT in geography, a horse's lower critical temperature. Lower critical temperature is the lowest temperature at which the horse can maintain his core temp without using additional energy. Okay, so once the temperature drops below that LCT, that low, what's it called? Lower critical temperature, or LCT. So much easier to say. LCT, LCT. I could come up with so many different acronyms. Okay, I'm jumping tracks again, sorry. Once the temperature drops below the LCT, his hair, fur, coat, and normal calorie intake alone aren't enough to keep him warm. Okay, so now my wonder is, let's see here, the temperatures a horse is used to can impact his LCT. So that's my next question, and I'm sure yours is what is the LCT of a horse? Well, it depends on your climate. It depends on what they're used to. And so in that case, what I would tell you to do is call your vet. Because if a vet doesn't know, I'm sorry, but if my vet doesn't know what the LCT of a horse is, I'm not going to that vet. That's something that seems pretty dang common. So it says, the temperatures a horse is used to can impact his LCT, which is why horses in warmer climates, like ours, often get dressed, start growing their fur coat at milder temps than horses in colder temps. Okay, it's all about acclimating. Acclimating.
If you look at people that've been in Arizona a couple of years, they'll run around in jackets when it's 75 degrees,
right?
And shorts because they're used to the heat.
Put on some clothes.
And not the cold.
Right, unless you're me. Me being female, me being 55, me being perimenopausal. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's crazy. And then I'm like, is it 55 yet? Or 70 with a breeze up to 10. Yeah, 10 miles an hour. That's a breeze for us. Anything over 15, getting a little windy. Okay, body condition. Let's see here.
Yeah, we covered that pretty much.
We did?
One other thing
Okay.
that people do that is not good with blanketing, they'll put on the heavier blankets, the lined blankets, before the horse needs them. Therefore, they don't grow their winter coat out.
Oh, yes.
So you're in a dividing line there between too much and not enough. If you don't let that hair grow, they've got to get cold before it starts.
Exactly.
A lot of it's to do with the sunlight and not but it's temperature built too. So yeah. So you got to watch that. You don't want to blanket too soon.
I know. So what do you do in the fall, right? I mean, to blanket or not to blanket? That is the question. Use your best judgment. Pay attention to your horse, not everybody else's horse. Remember that too when you're asking your neighbor and your friends what they do. They're talking about a different horse. You're talking about a different body condition possibly. You're talking about, different ages. You have to take all those things that we talked about earlier into consideration. So don't just say, what do you do? Okay, that's what I'll do. That they're not motorcycles. You guys hear me say this all the time, and if you haven't, you're hearing it for the first time now. They are not motorcycles. They do not have rubber wheels. Okay, they're all different. They're not. A carburetor is not just a carburetor. Okay, they have hearts. They have blood. They're living creatures, for God's sake. So use your brain just a little bit. Unclipped. There's so many things. We could go on about this conversation forever and a day, but I think it's time to wrap it up. Clipping is another reason. You know, we talked about that briefly. We kind of hit it. What do we got? We got Rocco. We got full body clip. A horse is kept under lights. Go back up. You just cut me off there. Trace clip. Hard keeper. Horses that are best in blankets. These are the ones, okay? We've got full body clips, normal body condition. Don't just clip your horse for artwork. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. Why? Yes, it's pretty. I'm not stating that. But you know what? If you do that Schmidt when they've got fur, which is when most people do it, towards fall and winter, you're hurting your horse. Not downright cutting them, which I've seen people do on videos and go, oh, I'm sorry, it's just a nick. It's not a scratch on a motorcycle. However, think about that, okay? Just come on, use your noggins. The gods gave you a brain for a reason. Use it. Normal body condition, goes out during the day, you know, all these extra things. Go on to smartpackequine.com. You can also go to thehorse.com, horse blanketing facts. Would you click over there for me for just a second, ma'am? She'll get used to me eventually. They've got startled by shock. Dry winters can make blanketing pretty shocking. What do you mean by light, mid, or heavyweight? And I think they're talking about blankets, right? Blanket manufacturers categorize their blankets according to insulation factor as light, mid, or heavyweight. So they've got this in here too. Two fantastic resources right here. There's videos. I don't know if we've got what size blanket. It's going to show you, both of them I'm sure are going to show you how to calculate the size of your horse's blanket that you need. And last but not least, we've got 7 blankets for sale, used blankets.
At least.
Yeah, at least. And guess what? Every one of them, remember to quote me on this, every one of them is going for $15 or less. A lot of them are going for less.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
No. What did we just do?
There is that beautiful, it has to be brand new. There is not a stain on anything on it. The waterproof set, the hood, and the blanket.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely immaculate.
$15 or less. We are doing a super sale on them right now. Yep. I'm doing it. You know why I'm doing it? Because the next auction we have is going to be on saddle sets. And I'm telling you about that later. Okay, so listen. I got company here. I got somebody who's got donation items here. I didn't look up any jokes yet, but this is what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to see you next Monday, okay? Okay. You got any... Look at how this goes. It just kind of starts dripping and drooping. I got to...
We have to do the thing.
Well, look what happens when I do the thing. See, then I flip everybody off and they go, what the heck's she doing? Cover their ears. What the hell is she doing? I'm flipping you off. The question is, what's the question? What's the answer? The question is, are you flipping me off? And what's the answer? Do you remember the answer? You don't remember the answer? Yeah, I swear. She doesn't remember the answer. Yes, I'm flipping you off. Of course I'm flipping you off. The question is, do I mean to? Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. I love you. I'm tired. I'm done talking. Cheers to you. Goat's milk soap. I hope you won it. See that finger? It likes to stick out. I'll talk to you guys later. Mwah. Wait. We're signing off. Mwah, 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 mwah. Bye. Ah! She's falling over.